So after a really profitable 2023, my portfolio took a nosedive in January despite the S&P 500 going up by 2%. On top of that, I've started investing in two new platforms, one for peer-to-peer investing and the other one to keep my emergency money in a high-yielding bank account with about 4% interest rate. And I'm going to tell you more about that in this video. Hello finance people, my name is Robert and I'm here to share my learnings and experiences about personal finance as a European. So let's jump into my portfolio tracker and look at the stocks. If you look at stocks, they performed really bad for me in January. Just take a look, minus 12%. This is mostly driven by Tesla. Tesla dropped quite a lot and I have a big stake in that. And this year I'm looking to actually reduce it, but it doesn't look good now. That said, it is down, but overall I bought it at, I think it was $100 or something, or euros, don't remember. Yeah, $100, around that mark. So I'm up overall, but this month has just been, devastating for my stocks. And you can see barely any of them are in the green. So I have here Amazon went up by 5% and Nokia 5%. But yeah, we're talking about quite small amounts. Tesla is my biggest stake. So that's the risk in my portfolio. And you can see that on paper, I lost 2,500 euros just this month. Now, I believe Tesla performed so bad because they had the Q4 earnings report. And I think a lot of the market was just expecting that they're not performing so well. Electric vehicles are not selling as good as everybody thought first. They're slowing down. Pretty much all of these manufacturers are not selling as much as they thought initially. So there's actually scaling down on the production of electric cars. So that's pretty interesting to look at. But in any case, for me, in the Q1, I want to reduce my exposure to Tesla, and I'm just looking at this and how far this goes. So next, let's take a look at ETFs. And here you can see that I'm up by 3.9% compared to S&P 500, which was up by 2.2%, which is kind of strange because mostly my portfolio consists of VUSA, which tracks S&P 500. But I think the difference is because of the currency difference. So either euro went up or down, and that kind of influences my portfolio in a positive way in this case. So I'm happy that this could recover some of the money that I lost in stocks. You can see that VUSA is for me the biggest part anyway. I have almost what is this? 20,000 in VUSA, and then the world ETF is about 6,000. So we're talking about 1/5 in the world economy and 4/5 in US. So I'm quite dependent on how US stock market does. So on paper, ETFs may be about 1,000 euros this month. Let's take a look at the crypto. Unfortunately, crypto also didn't perform that well, especially Ripple. Ripple had a drop here, almost 20% drop, and in total 5% minus. Now, I'm not too worried about that because my biggest stake is in Bitcoin anyway. You can see by far biggest stake, and I'm just waiting for that Bitcoin halving and see how the market reacts to that. And I'm just gonna wait for that until I do anything with this. And then if we take a look at peer-to-peer, where I actually have some changes. So I added another platform. I have now Escated here. I added 2,500 there. I just started like mid-January, so there's not much money yet coming in. I also added another 500 to Mintos. So this is kind of my peer-to-peer lending. I'm not gonna add any other money this year. This is all I'm gonna work with, about 5,000 euros in peer-to-peer, and I'm just curious to see how it works out. Now I added Escated just to have a bit of more risk reduction so that I have two platforms, and I'm distributing the risk a little bit there. And it performed 1% up, but again, I started with Escated just like 15 days ago, so it doesn't really count yet. And then one more asset type I've added is I just added cash, because now I added about 5,000 euros of my emergency fund to Trade Republic to get that high yield from the interest rate they offer. They offer about 4% interest rate, and so far the experience has been really great because you're basically having a German bank account. So it was really easy for me to work with it. I sent money to it. It was almost immediately. I could see it in my app. So far I'm happy with it. I'm gonna play around with it a little bit more, and then I'm gonna create a video just around that. I'm curious how it will go. You can see I've made now 8 euros so far, but for me, it's just an experiment for now. And I want to make sure that the cash I have, that's the emergency fund, that's easily accessible, and also it gains some interest rate, because right now in my bank, I think it's 1.5 or 2%, something like that. So doubling that actually works quite well for me. So if we put all that together, If we look at overall results for January, I'm down by 1,800 euros, and that's about 3% drop. So I'm not doing well. S&P 500 went up by 2%, whereas I went down by 3%. So you can see I'm not completely happy with this month, and the biggest drop came from Tesla stock. So no surprise there. So I just need to keep an eye on this and see if I can just rebalance my portfolio so it's not so dependent on Tesla. So I want to keep it a bit more less risky than this. Now, I've been investing for the last 6 years, and there are a few mistakes that I really wish I hadn't made. Without them, my portfolio would be probably double the size. That's why I created this video right here, so you can avoid losing time and money by making the same mistakes.